Hi, I'm Mima. I'm a grandma and a mom, and we are on chapter 5 of The Adventures of Sophie Mouse, a New Friend by Poppy Green, illustrated by Jennifer A. Bell. So, you want to find out what happens in chapter 5? Okay, let's go right in. Chapter 5 Snake Stories. At dinner that night, Winston told Mr. and Mrs. Mouse about the new student. Wow, a snake for a classmate? Mrs. Mouse exclaimed. Sophie nodded. Malcolm said that snakes can be sneaky, she began. And Ben said they're scary, Winston added. And quick-tempered, said Sophie. At least that's what Piper told us. Mrs. Mouse seemed surprised at their words as she passed the cheese biscuits. Actually, she said calmly, I was going to say, a snake for a classmate? How delightful. Delightful, Sophie and Winston cried in surprise. Mr. Mouse nodded. Have you or any of your friends ever met a snake before? He asked. Sophie and Winston shook their heads. No, they had not. Mr. Mouse smiled. Well, I have. He said your mother and I used to know a very nice snake. Yes, agreed Mrs. Mouse. And I thought you two knew better than to make up your mind before you even get to know someone. All of a sudden, Sophie's biscuit didn't taste so good. She thought again about Owen sitting alone at recess and how sad he looked after school. Now she really, really wished that she had asked Owen to play. Later that evening, Sophie went to find her dad. George Mouse was at his design desk working on a blueprint for a Shrew family's new house. Dad, Sophie asked, would you tell me more about the snake you and Mom knew? Mr. Mouse put down his pencil. He turned to look at Sophie, smiled, and ruffled the fur on her head. Her name was Olivia, he began. Her family lived near here when your mom and I were young. We'd play together all the time, especially in the buttercup patch. Then one day, when I was maybe 10, she and her family moved away. I missed her a lot. Your mom did too. Sophie was quiet for a moment. Then she said, sounds like she was a very good friend of yours. Mr. Mouse nodded. She was a very good friend, he said. Sophie shuffled to her room. She got into her pajamas, climbed into her bed, pulled up her quilt made of milkweed fluff, and turned off the light. As she lay in the dark, Sophie made a decision. Owen was brave enough to walk into a school full of strangers, she thought. Tomorrow, I can be brave enough to ask him to play. And that's the end of chapter 5. Okay, well, I hope you are enjoying this book. Isn't it so fun? And it's all about a new friend. So thank you to Freckles for letting us borrow this book so we can enjoy it all together. All right, you guys, remember something. I love you. Okay, come back again and we will read chapter 6. Bye-bye for now.